Well, I came across a very interesting video on Xenu Truth 9, the Scientology channel, about Jehovah Witnesses, and I thought it was especially timely since I've recently got in contact with Jehovah Witness through my workspace. I actually work with a former Jehovah Witness and now recently work with a current Jehovah Witness. I'm particularly susceptible, being very much interested in spirituality and many different thought forms, and open to a lot of stimuli in my daily life, and sometimes I guess I'm sort of a sponge or a magnet to this type of thing. And of course, once again, Jehovah Witnesses constantly being on a mission and constantly proselytizing, I was definitely snared in this gentleman's mindset. So I had recently come across him, and then there was some literature, some didactic literature that was given to me by this gentleman, who for all intents and purposes is a good guy. Happy to be friendly with him, you know, and it's a little touch and go in terms of talking about faith in the belief system, and I never responded directly to what he gave me, and interestingly enough, he never directly responded. He referred to it as publishing. At that point, I didn't know what the publishing was, but being a writer and someone that's interested in publishing as a possible alternate means of income, I was immediately interested. The key that really opened the floodgate in terms of what we're dealing with was the 66 books, and that became a code word for the 66 books of the Bible. Not certain if it's specifically the Jehovah Witness Bible or if that carries over into the more standard Christian Bibles that also exist. There it was, and it was especially interesting that here it was being approached by a Jehovah Witness that was not ready to reveal his Jehovah Witness thing. This video, which now you have some background, let me just get right into the video, which is this one about what Jehovah Witnesses don't want you to hear, and it's by a British gentleman by the name of Steve on, as I said, the Xenu Truth 9 channel, which I avidly watch and been following ever since Xenu TV 1 and the Scientology dispute, and I've also been following a lot of the events surrounding Scientology, some of their beliefs, and how that's been transpiring. And now with this, my interest in the Jehovah Witnesses has definitely been piqued a little bit more. I had once been the lucky recipient of tons of hip-hop tapes, which I no longer possess, but at the time was a wonderful addition to my record collection, which existed at that time, because a gentleman began to date with a Jehovah Witness woman. So it's definitely their choices have benefited me, as far as I can say, because I reaped the bounty of what they no more had. I couldn't understand why anyone would give up all these tapes, some of them newly bought. So if anything there is just to be mindful of those radical changes. You know, I would love to get in touch with George, the gentleman, and see how that path worked out for him. Yeah, that would be very interesting. So back to this video, which is what I really wanted to cover on, and I took some notes as Steve, this gentleman from the United Kingdom, was speaking. And the first thing he came off with saying was that it's an American pyramid scheme. So the first thing you understand is that this is a resident of the United Kingdom talking to fellow residents of the United Kingdom primarily, and warning them of this American this American visitor, and that it's based on a pyramid scheme that's selling the watchtower and developing money, and also the other source of income. And he showed the balance sheet quite prominently. Was through wills and estates. So you know, I mean, the idea of a pyramid scheme, he's using the term quite loosely. Multi-level marketing, the traditional pyramid scheme, is a very straight, you know, linear type of hierarchical form. So what he's talking about, I think, is more of a metaphorical sense, or more of a hierarchy, which also makes you think, I mean, this is just all businesses are run this way, governments are run this way, everything is run in this sort of pyramid-like structure of hierarchy. So immediately I could tell that this gentleman was on the sensational tip. He was quite energetic in his telling of the story, so I knew I had to watch the video a couple times because I was very interested in his views and understanding what he was talking about. Now, the second thing that he talked about, well, first of all, he said that they have a terrible life, that they have a morbid mindset and they are miserable. Of course, that's jumping to conclusions terribly quick, and I wouldn't say that about any large group of people, especially a group of people that have a certain amount of belief in what they're saying, and also this idea that this person may believe in what they're having, and then they're attaining a certain amount of wealth, which is success, which might mirror back to them that things are going well. So to automatically say that these individuals are having a terrible life is definitely quick to verdict. I definitely want to be mindful of that and query, what we're basing this on. The fact that it being morbid, saying that the only celebration that they celebrate is the death of Jesus, not his birthday, not anyone's birthday, and they don't celebrate anything for that matter, which is definitely an interesting thought process, and brings to mind the Ja Rule article that I read, which I spotted through Rick Ross, who's a cult, someone that exposes cults and provides literature on various cults. A website that I've been checking out for several years now. Another cult expositor would be Steve Hassan, and also has another website which at times I've reviewed and looked at to keep abreast of these type of organizations, and sort of more of the critical side of them. And of course, they always carry links to the actual organizations' websites themselves. Now, so right away, I see the adversarial tone of this gentleman's argument, Mr. Stephen, on the Xenu channel, saying that they don't celebrate anything, they have a terrible life, and that it's a pyramid scheme. Selling watchtowers is the only thing important. Now, talking about the watchtower mentality, everything goes their way, and the conversation always steers towards the state of the world. This is interesting, and I would like to actually engage more and talk with Jehovah's Witnesses and see that development and how the watchtower mentality actually deals with people. And he says it's, I believe he refers to it maybe not specifically, but that it's futile to even talk to these people. I would love to actually have this conversation. I'm wondering how many conversations Stephen had with them himself, or attempted to reason with them. As difficult as that may be, as difficult as it is to be with any stringent believer of any system. So, and another thing he said is the watchtower mentality is very, very difficult to break out of, and the pyramid, all pyramid schemes are very difficult to get out of. To some levels, there may be truth there. I tend to think maybe the mentality itself and the terrors that develop for these believers may be very difficult. Now, as for actually physically leaving, unless are we dealing with something along the lines of, say, like a battered woman syndrome, that kind of staying in the fold of a negative situation because you develop codependency. Although Stephen did not mention these terms, I tend to think that maybe that's what he's talking about. And which brings up the other interesting point of the belief system of the Jehovah's Witnesses. He says they take no prisoners, and that's particularly insightful because, yes, disfellowship is a big part of their belief system, and that once you're stricken from them, it's like the old tribal customs where you become exiled and you become an island unto your own, and families get broken up.